Hey guys, what's going on? Lee and Tammy Sanders with you guys. You're checking out an all new Wrestling with the Topics for Saturday, July 27th, 2024. Hope you guys having a fantastic weekend. Nice good weather out there. Definitely an opportunity to go do a couple of different things. I just know here in the DC metropolitan area, as far as bad weather goes, it is a thing of the past, although we've got rain that is on the horizon. But the weather right now, enjoy it for what it's worth. I was out there late this morning, pretty much Friday night going into Saturday. I was out on the road. By the way, following up, the courier job that I'm doing, I'm loving it so far. It's fantastic. Love working my own hours. Definitely, I love being in a position where I can pretty much do what I need to do, especially if I need to run some type of errands or, just taking care of myself health wise, taking care of home. I love having that flexibility to be able to plug and play basically. You get out what you put in. I don't want to be too long winded about it, but it's definitely a grind. You get out what you put in. If you were to pick my brain and say, Lee, I've been strongly considering going into that field, would you highly recommend it? I would say, yeah, if you're looking to put yourself in a position where you're responsible for working your own hours, getting out there, whatever figures you're thinking in your head that you're trying to generate, it's definitely possible. You just got to dedicate yourself to the hustle and everything and stay true unless you're feeling kind of down and out and everything. There's a fun statistic I had saw from this established courier. He's somewhat of a YouTube personality as well. And he talked about how the average American, heaven forbid there is a emergency, the average American does not have a minimum of $1,000 put to the side so that they can cover that emergency.
Mm-hmm.
That resonated so well because in the Sanders household, I ain't gonna beat around the bush. We always give it to you raw. Yeah, we've been there. We've done that. At times, we still go, okay, how are we going to pay for this? Okay, we got to move this over here. Okay, let's make a payment arrangement
Mm-hmm.
and right? So, and I've spoken to many of you all off and on over the years. I'm well aware of some of the financial hardship that some of you all are going through. And I know, Tams, you had said a few months ago you had came across something.
I was listening to the radio. I guess it's been about 6 or 8 months ago. Um, and they were stating that there was some statistic. I don't remember the percentage in reference to, but there was a certain percentage in of Americans that could be one paycheck away from being homeless. Most people now live paycheck to paycheck. Um, and don't have the extra, as Lee was alluding to. So why not turn the tables to your advantage if that is something that you're looking as a side hustle? And to be honest with you, at this point in this stage of the game, and where we are with our economy, most Americans do need a side hustle.
Yeah, they do. I've seen so many people because I've interacted with so many people. So many people are doing all types of different odd jobs so that,
Mm-hmm.
and in most cases, some people are doing odd jobs that they never would have considered themselves even doing.
Mm-hmm.
I know of people that work at NIH, that is the National Institute of Health. Just think about the whole COVID situation. I know Dr. Fauci had worked very closely with the CDC and had worked with NIH as well to figure out the whole COVID situation. But I know of people who work for NIH, work for the government, and they're doing side stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They are doing a side hustle, okay, on a regular basis just to try to have that extra little bit of income
To make ends meet.
to make ends meet, just so they can have that extra little cushion and everything. So, and look, when you look at what's going on with this inflation, it's no wonder why people are doing whatever is out there for that side hustle. I mean, the inflation is just through the freaking roof right now, to the point I literally yesterday was looking at purchasing Deadpool and Wolverine tickets. And shout out, I shared my screenshots online. Shout out to Rob Feinstein of Signed by Superstars, formerly of RF Video, because he had a live in studio session with Bret Hitman Hart, which if you guys want to catch the replay of it, it's available on their YouTube channel and everything. And yes, I did get Bret Hart to sign something for me. It was a poster I wanted him to sign originally. And sadly, that poster, what I was looking at the time, sadly, that poster would not arrive in time for my meet and greet with Bret Hart last year. So I ended up not purchasing that poster. But when I heard Rob was going to be doing the signing with Bret this go round, I said, oh, I got to get in on this one. And yeah, go check it out. Bret looks pretty good. You can hear Rob give me a shout out and everything. As that blue screen of death of a software update, it affected so many people. I felt so bad because, as you all know, if you're staying on top of your news and everything, not just the airlines, but some hospitals, like all forms of business in some way, even your local grocery stores were affected by this. And firsthand knowledge, the United States Postal Service, whether they want to admit it or not, I'm here to tell you, they suffered from it as well. As when I was checking out Rob's video, when I was checking out his live studio joint with Bret, so many people were watching the stream hoping that Rob had got whatever it was of memorabilia mailed in, dropped off to Rob in time so Bret could sign it. So many people were affected by that whole blue screen. It was ridiculous that the post office was even affected by it. And it never fucking dawned on me that, oh, you know what? It might not get to Rob in time because of that damn crash. But luckily it did. But there were so many people part of that whole stream, oh, it didn't get there. What are we going to do now? And, it sucked hearing that. And Rob was real cool. He's like, hey, we can talk about it after the show. Don't worry. We'll figure something out. And look, when Rob says, don't worry about it, we'll figure something out, he fucking always comes through and everything. But I bring up Rob because I asked Rob during the session, hey, did you see Deadpool and Wolverine? And Rob goes, I saw it, Lee. It was all right. Julian Cannon from Nocturnal and Digiday, he goes, yeah, it was all right. I know Mish, shout out to Mish, Wrestling Soup, he said he was getting ready to see it over the weekend, and I envy that motherfucker. That motherfucker was able to get 2 tickets for $21. My black ass was online yesterday trying to get 2 tickets. I was trying to see the first showing in the morning, 9:30 in the morning on a Saturday. Now, normally, that's a matinee price. Okay? So, okay, you're seeing a movie before noon. All right, yeah, it pays because you're going to save quite a few dollars, okay? Go to checkout. Them bitches was, what was that? Because after taxes, it was almost $50. I think it was 48 and change. I'm going, wait, so it's 22 something a ticket, 23, 24 something a ticket? Like, wait, what? I'm like, wait, what? Because the last movie I saw in theater was Thor, Love and Thunder. And I don't even remember the tickets being that astronomically high.
I do because I paid for it.
So they were that high back then?
Yeah.
Well, then if you paid for those tickets, then I'm trying to think, when was the last time? And it wasn't years upon years upon years. I think the last movie, okay, then you know what? If my memory serves correctly, the last movie that I paid for that I had saw, and I think I ended up seeing this one by myself, I believe it was Spider-Man Into the Verse, or Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, that animated joint. I'm pretty sure I saw that one. Whatever year that movie came out. And I remember seeing a early, yeah, it's coming back to me. I remember seeing an early afternoon flick. Yeah. I think I ended up either taking an Uber or I caught a bus to go see that movie. But my whole point, I remember seeing that movie and going, oh, okay, well, this ain't too bad, because I remember paying somewhere between 13 to 15 bucks. And I think that movie might have came out 2, possibly 3 years ago, give or take. I know I'm in the right ballpark, guys. I know I am. So to hear that significant price of a hike, that is just ludicrous.
So, hearing us talk about this and to really go back and think about it. Now, maybe some theaters still do it, but if I'm really thinking about it, I don't think that some are even honoring the matinee prices.
Oh, wow. That movie was in 2018. Jesus.
So I think partly due to the fact that I don't know that our current theater does matinee, because that 22 to 24 or whatever have you, those are, you go see that like 5, 6, 7 o'clock at night, which is prime time for them.
Wait. Am I saying the phrasing wrong when I say matinee?
You're not.
Okay.
You're not saying it wrong, what I'm saying, and trying to, as far as think about it, I don't think matinee is even an option anymore. I think you're basically paying the rate at 9 o'clock in the morning as you would pay at 7 o'clock at night.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning matinee, I don't even know if some theaters offer it.
I think, yeah. I think I might have paid for Avengers Endgame, because I'm looking at all the Marvel movies that came out in chronological order, and I see that Spider-Man, where what'd I say? Into the Spider-Verse?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm looking here, because I'm seeing all the movies that had came out. Avengers Endgame, and then it goes Spider-Man Far From Home, Shang-Chi, Eternals, Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, Thor Love and Thunder, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Then you got Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and then you got the Marvels. I think I'm looking just interesting. So I know that in regards to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, I remember seeing that movie by myself. I definitely remember that. And then I remember saying to you afterwards, hey, this was actually really, really good. You got to check this out. So looking at the rest of these movies, I know for a fact we saw Endgame together.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure I paid for the movie tickets for that one, and they were not.
I think you paid around 30 something.
That sounds about right.
Because I remember you saying something about it at that point. in reference to saying, hey, when did ticket prices go up that much?
We saw Spider-Man No Way Home. We definitely saw that one. We saw Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I'm pretty sure I paid for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness because I remember being pretty excited that there was a sequel, finally.
Mm-hmm.
And so so that would be the last Marvel movie then that I remember coming out of my pocket for, and the prices was relatively good. Because see, look, after Multiverse of Madness, then it goes Thor: Love and Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
So somewhere between, let's split the difference. Somewhere between the Eternals to Thor: Love and Thunder, we had the significant price hike there for the tickets. But my whole thing when I saw this, as I'm ordering the tickets, I'm going, shit, this is a lot of fucking money, and food hasn't even been ordered yet. Like, what the hell? Like, this ain't cool. And so, yeah, but Mission them, they was able to get their tickets for 20 something bucks. I know John Draper, shout out to him. He was like, dude, that's nothing. I paid minus the food for me and my kids. I'm paying like 60 something dollars. I'm like, woof. So shout out to Draper.
He said minus the food.
Minus the food.
So I'm sure that was a whole $100.
That had to be. It had to be.
Because when we did the Thor Love and Ragnarok, I think between the tickets and the food, it was really close to that.
Right. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
I just love hearing my girl. So true story. Give you guys a peek behind the curtains. So this is our third attempt doing the show because the first two times we got disconnected from the internet and we actually were streaming the show live. The second go round, we weren't even live for 2 minutes and the stream just got interrupted and it was like, what the hell is going on here? So I don't know if it's the laptop. I kind of suspect that it is. Ever since it had a nice big old cup of water several years ago, I thought everything was on the up and up, but it kind of seems like it's fritzing a bit on me. I've got to get a technician to go into this bad boy and tell me what the hell is going on, if any. I have a feeling that some parts need to be replaced. But then even at that, our internet provider is Xfinity. And there are so many times, I've bared witness to this firsthand, where it can be during the middle of the afternoon, the internet just goes out. And man, we are so connected to everything as a society. We're so connected to the internet. We rely on the internet to be able to watch our TV shows, watch our movies, play our video games, you name it, have those Zoom meetings, whatever, you name it. We rely so heavily on the internet that, heaven forbid, there's a software update, right, or somebody's doing some tech work. You're fucked.
Let's go back into what you were just talking about a couple minutes ago in reference to the blue screen of death. Look at how heavily we rely on the internet.
Yeah.
I mean, what you just mentioned, but piggyback on to, the airlines, the post office, everybody was affected in some way. So
it just, it really makes you wonder, since you said that, it really makes you wonder if man is relying on the internet too much. If man is relying too much on, because you think about how it was before when our parents and grandparents were growing up and they didn't have internet.
Nope.
Everything was recorded meticulously by hand to a computer that had stored all the information on a hard drive.
Or no computer at all.
Or no computer at all, true.
And you had to do it, by hand.
By hand, yeah. It just makes you wonder if as a fail-safe if that might make a comeback.
It wouldn't be surprising.
You just can't help
I
but
I
wonder.
think we've gone too far for it to come back completely.
Well, one thing's for certain, when you look at these prices for airlines or you look at these prices for movie tickets, yeah, I definitely want to focus more on the media consumption because we had the foresight many years ago when we did that Awesome Con panel and we were talking about media consumption. Just going back, when you look at those current prices for movie tickets and shit, you go, okay, why am I gonna pay over 20 something dollars, or if it's for you and your kiddo or you and your significant other, okay, why am I gonna pay 50 plus dollars to go see this movie that I'm not even sure what I can expect? Yeah, I'm going for the atmosphere, I'm going for the experience. Yeah, I get all that, but why am I putting this money out there when in just a few months this bad boy is going to be on Disney Plus or it's going to hit this app? And since I'm already paying X amount of money for this app, I'll be able to. Well, it's quite simple. I know that there's a lot of people out there that's asking that question. I get it. What it is FOMO, fear of missing out. You want to be part of that trend. You want to be part of that. Some people now want to be part of that trend. They want to be part of that initial discussion, that opening weekend for that movie that dropped. Yeah, I saw it. Da, 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 da. They want to be able to, be in on it and everything. And I can respect that. I can definitely respect that,
I
right?
also have one other thing. In the age that we are in reference to the internet, you almost have to go see it the soonest that it comes out. Because if you don't, you're going to know about 75% of the movie between your apps and your social media.
That is true. Unless your social media game is quite savvy and on point, that you know how to dodge, you know how to navigate the waters and all that. Like for me personally, I gotta tell you, when the Deadpool Wolverine trailers was coming out, the only thing that I knew was, hey, here's a couple of still shots from this movie. Okay, looks promising. Okay, that's good. Nice. And then, again, I'm minding my own business and I'm on social media and I'm continuing to see stuff be put out there about the movie. Again, I'm not going out of my way to look this up. It's just popping up in my feed.
Right.
I do what the next best person is going to do when they're trying to avoid that type of stuff. And they go, hey, show this less often. I'm not interested in this topic. I still keep getting so to your point, it's almost as if, okay, if you're going to go on social media, don't even look at your feed. Just post what you need to post and then roll out. If you're trying to avoid the spoilers and all that. Now, I got to tell you.
Yeah, but who's going to do that for 3 months? 2 months?
A person that, well, wait. If we're talking about taking those kind of steps to dodge, then I would say a person who maybe is one of those few that, no, I just want to wait until it comes out on DVD, or I want to wait till it comes out I want to wait until it comes out on the streaming platforms so that I can appreciate it, because I've got my own surround sound. I've got my own entertainment set up. So I'm good. Thank you. No, let me finish. Let me finish. Because I'll give you a perfect example. Logan, starring Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart. I already knew as a comic book fan the elements that they were borrowing for that movie. I also knew that it was going to be, at that point, the last time Hugh Jackman would be Wolverine. So knowing all of those elements, I was not in a rush to see that movie because I knew the end result. Now, whereas somebody that is not familiar with the comic arc and everything, they're probably going to want to rush to go see it and all that. Me, I personally was fine to the point that I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to go on ahead and I'll just wait for this movie to come out on DVD or on Disney and I'll check it out that way. Now, when I would go on social media, I would come across certain people that would talk about the movie. I just straight up ignored them. I would read like a little something, and I would the main thing that I kept seeing, oh man, critically acclaimed, oh, so good. Like I kept seeing that over and over and over again. But I said, yeah, okay, well, that's enough of that. When I'm ready to see it, I'll see it, and I'll be the judge. I finally did get an opportunity to watch the movie in the privacy of my own home. And guess what? Despite the fact that movie came out a handful of years ago, I had a general idea because of my comic book knowledge previously. I had a general idea what it was going to tackle. But now that I was sitting down and I was actually watching it, they did try to form an original story arc based off of the comic book source materials that they were utilizing. I appreciated the movie 10 times more than what I initially thought it was going to be. So to my whole point, you do have people out there that are like me that, no, I'm just going to dodge it. I'm not going to see it in the movie theater because, for whatever respective reason, I got my own setup at home. I got this, I got that. I don't want to diverge, but let's keep it to the media consumption because we were ahead of the curve when we were doing the Awesome Con panel and we were talking about media consumption. Now more than ever, digital media consumption is continuing its dominance, which is the whole point of me bringing all this up. More and more people are going, yeah, with ticket prices that high, yeah, man, I'm just going to, I know that I'm going to be in a position where spoilers, it's going to be really hard to dodge spoilers. I get it. But, man, I want to be able to enjoy this movie in the privacy of my own home. I don't want to hear no baby crying. I ain't trying to hear somebody's little kid. Fuck all that shit. We've all been there. I remember there was 1 or 2 or 3 Marvel movies that we had saw, and the kids were fucking, they were messing the whole vibe up, right? Not to get off on a rant, but like I remember it big time. And I was like, ugh. So I get where people are coming from, but make no mistake about it. People that are operating in the I'm going to wait until this thing becomes available digitally. Okay. But I need you to make sure that you continue to be in that same, I need that same energy for when you read the newspaper and you go, oh, hey, that mom and pop theater that's closing its doors. Oh man, that sucks. Why are they doing that? I need that same energy for, I'm not going to go. I'm going to wait until it comes out on DVD or I can own it digitally. I need that same energy. I don't want you going, oh, what happened? Why mom and pop theaters closing? It's like, because your ass wasn't representing and supporting the staff that was there.
Well, it's more of to piggyback. It's mainly for the simple fact that you have, okay, so you have all this digital media now. Well, that's essentially the fighting portion of the price. Digital media. Why would someone go and spend $50 or $30 for this said thing when they can wait a couple months and spend $9.99 per month to do the same thing? Mm-hmm. So one hypes the other. And it's now a little bit of a fight in reference to who's getting that dollar. So now you have, okay, well, now we're going to hike up the prices for this said thing, because now it's an experience. Because we're essentially losing some of that money in reference to the digital content.
That is true. That is very, very true. I happen to, I got to be honest, though, I'm finding that as I get older, as I get older, a couple of things. Number one, yeah, man, the odds of me sitting through a 90-minute flick, 2-hour flick, damn near 3-hour flick, and you're asking me to do it in one take, yeah, I'm getting up there in age. My bladder ain't really gonna. So, I'm getting to that point. I like being in that position where I'm able to watch that new release in the privacy of my own home
And hit the pause
and
button.
hit the pause button when it's convenient. Because, and let's not also forget, our attention spans now more than ever, even us older adults, our attention spans these days, we're like, okay, yeah, we get the gist of it. Come on, move it along. Let's keep it moving along.
Yeah.
Heaven forbid you're dealing with a movie that has a drawn out, dragged out plot, and you can see a mile away as far as the style of storytelling. Okay, A B A, or maybe it's gonna go A B, A B D A C, but like, but the digital media consumption is continuing its fucking dominance. And it's sad because I watched a video on YouTube the other day. It was a respected guy that is very big into CDs. And he was talking about how, I want to say the stats that he provided for 2023, I believe he said for 2023, physical CDs, it was pretty good as far as sales. I think it was somewhere between 250 to 350 million. Now, compared to where things were, say, in 2004, in 2004, I think it was around the numbers that he gave. I think in 2004, it was around, I would say, 800 to 900 million.
That sounds about right.
And his whole thing was, okay, so, still, that's pretty good considering. And he was making the argument for why we need to continue to invest in physical media as opposed to digital media and everything. And he was making some really good points. If I can find his name and his YouTube channel, I'll definitely mention
you
it.
should attach that.
I'll definitely mention it. But it was eye opening because it just brought it back to what we've been talking about off and on for all these years, which is the digital media consumption. And we predicted so many years ago that, hey, be prepared. You're going to see more and more new releases that's going to go digitally, and that's exactly what has happened. We're now at this point now where, and we called it beautifully, we're now at this point now where Netflix, like practically every single week, Apple TV, practically every single week, they are putting out new original movies. There's new original shows that's coming out, right?
We just said last show, did you ever think that there would be a time that a Beverly Hills Cop sequel would be coming out on Netflix? Netflix. Not at the theaters, not at your local whatever, and it is absolutely a portion of that digital consumption. And I actually want to piggyback a little bit of what you were talking about in reference to the CDs portion. We have, in the Sanders household, we have a Spotify account for the both of us. And now, in reference to CDs, for me, I have gotten to where I know what I know in reference to the physical part. And there's nothing like opening a physical, especially if you have the nostalgia piece, from your childhood or, younger years or whatever. There's nothing like it. But to be able to essentially go to an app and tell it somebody's song played by somebody, and have it just pull it up just like that. It's like, now damn, that's pretty damn amazing. Now grant you, it does hurt, other things. I mean, it's kind of anything. As there's a pro and a con to anything. The pro is, you know what? I don't have to have all this stuff in my house, which actually we still have hundreds of CD cases in this house still, but it's there. It's for you. You don't have to essentially have it. It can be at your fingertips without having it physically in front of you.
Mm-hmm. No, agreed. Michael Andrew is the guy's name, by the way. The title of his video on YouTube is Why You Should Buy CDs Now in 2024. Again, his name is Michael Andrew.
And the funny thing is, actually, I'll go a step farther. They don't even sell them in stores anymore. There used to be a small section in most stores like Target or Walmart or whatever, a small section of, most popular CDs, and you could pick from that. That section is dang near gone. And in some stores it is gone. I think Targets still have, some small section, but still, it's like you've seen it over the years and it just keeps dwindling.
Which was Michael Andrews' whole point, I think, from his video, as far as why you should continue to purchase CDs in 2024, because, although last year the numbers were relatively good, we're seeing more and more production companies cease the development of CDs. We're now seeing more and more record labels. Okay, you know what? Let's get away from this because now it's all about digitally. And it's interesting how the metrics are, as far as trying to figure out if an artist is truly successful or not. It's interesting now we're factoring in, well, how many plays
Downloads.
is this no. How many plays is this track or this album getting because of what you just referenced? Spotify, also Pandora, or iHeartRadio or Apple Music. Okay, so how many plays is this getting? How many times are people going in and clicking on that track or clicking on that album? Those metrics is being, and look, let's be honest, there are some great software programs that's out there that can essentially go in and exaggerate like a motherfucker and everything. Okay, let's be real. So it's interesting how we're paying attention more to those metrics as opposed to, okay, so physical copies, we're looking at vinyl, we're looking at CDs. Okay, how many have you sold? What is up? Right? Like at this point, you're going, well, for sure Lady Gaga, for sure Taylor Swift, Beyonce, they definitely are selling units.
Right.
Right, like there's no mistake about that. But I just find that whole thing so fascinating. Again, Michael Andrew, great fucking video that he put out there. And the stores that are still around, it's essentially mom and pa little businesses. I remember, I think it was a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, I did a drop off somewhere. I was somewhere out in PG County, Maryland. and I had came across this little small strip. It was late at night, but there's this little mini strip, and at the end of the strip was a CD store. And they were talking about how they buy, sell, trade CDs. I'm going, wow, like that's retro. Like, because I remember a time when you used to see stores like that, to the point you were making earlier. You used to see stores like that everywhere, right? Besides the Tower Records, Suncoast, and all that.
Mom, pa's. Yeah, absolutely.
It would stay seeing the Ma and Pa's.
And even to your point, and on the other flip side of that, a longtime staple in the DC metropolitan area actually just closed its doors within the last 2 months, which is the Record Exchange.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting because you look at what's going on with the media consumption, and how do I say this? On the one hand, I look at apps like Spotify, Pandora, Apple Music even, and I think that it's badass that hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of artists is available at your fingertips, and you can go discover whatever your heart desires. Especially if it's a case where, you know what, I always meant to go check out that album, but I never got around to it. Or I always meant to go check out that song. I never got around to it. Man, I can't believe it's been 5 years already. I like the fact that you're able, just the whole discovery feature. And then if you end up liking that artist, liking their content, then you convert into purchasing their physical material. See, that's where the biggest loss comes into play, I personally feel, is you check the shit out, but okay, is that enough to convert you to buy the physical album? And most people don't do that.
No.
Most people, if anything, they'll just go, hey man, I was listening to this new artist, or I was listening to this act on Spotify. Check it out, man.
I added it to my playlist.
Yeah. That's it.
And that's pretty much it.
I
mean, even to the point where you like said person or said group, and as soon as a new album comes out, you're able to add that from them. It's the convenience. It absolutely is the convenience. Whether the digital consumption that we have now is a form of convenience, and the more convenient it's being made is the more popular, because people are choosing the convenience over the latter.
Look, nothing beats physical media on so many levels. We could be here all day talking about it, but I'm going to give you the top three. And I'll use an example where it's convenient. So, number one, physical media, nothing beats it, because heaven forbid you're dealing with a record label that is now defunct. And there was an artist that put out a really good album. Well, now the only way you're going to be able to listen to that album is if you actually own a physical copy of that album, because maybe the record label is in defunct, or maybe there is some type of a weird limbo thing going on where, unfortunately, as much as that artist would like for that album to be released on Spotify or whatever other social platforms for music, it's just not possible, and it's tied in limbo as a result.
It's true.
Like, perfect example. Many people probably are not even aware of this, but shout out to my Led Zeppelin fans out there. Shout out to you Robert Plant, Jimmy Page fans out there. One of my favorite collaborations that Robert Plant and Jimmy Page did was that 1990s album Walking to Clarksdale. Now, unfortunately, and it's understandable, when you think back to when that album had initially dropped, as great as it was to see Jimmy Page and Robert Plant back into the swing of things, you look at where the musical scene was at that time when that album had dropped. Nirvana was running around. We had Stone Temple Pilots. We had Pearl Jam. The grunge movement was on a fucking rise, and it was on fucking fire. Okay? So they unfortunately got lost in the shuffle because the media was pretty much dictating at that time, this is what's hip, this is what's cool, this is what's trending. Robert Plant and Jimmy Page's Walk Into Clarksdale album had banger good hits on that joint. And sadly, that album would not come to be appreciated until many years after its release. I bring that album up to bring up this point. You try looking for that album on certain social platforms, social music platforms. It's not available. Jimmy Page and Robert Plant, they were interviewed some years back. I think it was separately. And the question was brought up, yo, what's going on with that Walk Into Clarksdale album? Why isn't it? And because of how many units that album had sold initially when it first came out and everything, basically, even though I just sung that album's praises and many others sung that album's praise, the album was essentially looked at as a commercial flop. So as a result of that album being a commercial flop, it became a case of, okay, well, do we really want to put this out? Because if we were to put this out, we're wasting resources, financial resources on top of that. You know, for what? Like, how many people is really going to go and check that out? Like, we're talking about a very specific niche of fans that's going to check that out. So, yeah, no, we're not going to do that. No. Even when Robert Plant and Jimmy Page had did the Unleaded album. Now, that one is available on certain music platforms, but it's almost literally the same case. And that's the recurring theme. Just think of your favorite album and try to go look for it. Like, you would be surprised. I'll give you another example. Pisses me off to this very day. Do you know that when you go on Spotify, there is not one Anita Baker album that you can listen to? Here we are in 2024, and there is not one Anita Baker album that is on Spotify. Now, some of you guys will go, well, wait a minute, Lee. There's Anita Baker's Christmas Fantasy from 2005. It looks like that's on there. Keep going. And there's the Sweet Love single by Anita Baker that's on there. A single. Yep, keep going. And there's 2012's Lately from Anita Baker. But where is her entire catalog? All her albums, where's Rhythm of Love? like that's not on there. Like, somebody showed that to me. There's no Rhythm of Love on there. There's no Rapture. There's no Songstress. There's no Compositions. There's no My Everything. How you going to say Anita Baker is on Spotify, but you don't include all her albums? That's like saying, well, we got Sade, but just like 3 singles. And we know damn well Sade has put out some damn good albums. So, in this case, physical media reigns supreme, because you can easily go, well, that sucks what's going on over there, but I got all my albums. I don't know all you guys. Right? So, in this case, this is why physical media is, hey, this is good. This is why you want to stay on top of physical media. Not to mention the cool stories that you're able to tell when you've picked up that physical piece of media. Like, I can look at a particular album, especially if I purchased it years and years and years ago. I can look at a particular album and I can tell you the stories that came from picking up that album. You can't get that with fucking, you can't get that digitally. You can't get that. Oh, I'm scratching my belly button. Fucking 12:01 a.m. is now here. Oh, I'm going to go on Spotify and listen to the new Pearl Jam. Whoopee fucking do. Whoopee fucking. I mean, unless I'm thinking it wrong. I mean, can you like establish memories from getting music digitally or
No, because it's about the physical act of what you're doing. Like when Michael Jackson's History came out for me. I remember going, I've got to get that album. And I remember it was actually downtown DC. Well, Northwest. And there was a local record store. And let me tell you, that was a record store. It was like, if anybody remembers, it was like Sam Goody, Tower Records, Waxy Maxy, all in the same place. They had everything. And so that was the closest one to me in reference to where my travels were leading me. So I picked it up. I couldn't wait to get home and play it. And at that point, you know, we're kind of aging ourselves, but I think at that point I had a portable Discman player. And if I'm not mistaken, yes, I did. And if I'm not mistaken, I opened the CD up right after I got it and put that thing in my little Discman and walked, you know, wherever I was going to get to my destination. And I was just happy as a clam with my new, you know, 2-disc CD. But yes, in reference to the fact it's the act, it's the story behind it. Not necessarily that there's no story behind, yeah, you know, oh, it just popped up and there, you know, I added it.
I'll match you. My story is a little bit more damn, that's fucked up. So shout out to my Stone Temple Pilots fans out there. I remember when Stone Temple Pilots number 4 album had came out. I remember how excited I was to check out that album. I was like, because I had already checked out, you know, the other ones, the Purple album, Core. What was the other one? Tiny Music from the Vatican. I remember checking all of those out. And I remember hearing the buzz about 1999's number 4 album because I kept hearing about, oh, they're going back to, you know, the core era, you know, which was their debut album. Like, they're going back to that. Like, oh, yeah. Like, and I remember how excited I was to fucking check that album out because, like, one of the main tracks that came out, there was a music video as well, Down. And you're like, oh, yeah, this is retro STP, man. Like, we're saying this is retro STP, and this is only, like, their number 4 album, right? It's just their 4th album. We're acting like these motherfuckers been around for, like, 15 years, and they don't put out, like, 20 albums or some shit like that. But I remember specifically when that album had came out, I picked it up from CD Warehouse. And this was a joint that was run by a gay couple. And they were cool as fuck, man. They knew their music and everything. They were very, very diverse. I fucking love those guys. But I remember picking up the album. Me and my homies were listening to it in class. And we were grooving and everything. And we all were like, yeah, man, when they get ready to tour, oh, man, we got to see them, man. This joint is shit. Fucking Scott Weiland did some stupid shit. I couldn't tell you now, but I remember it vividly, clear as day, when it had went down initially, because we all were shocked by it. But Scott Weiland ended up doing something stupid, something drug related. And he ended up going to jail, if I remember correctly. And you're like, wait, what? And I remember he got tied up for like a year and a half or some shit like that. And the only reason why I remember all this is because I remember after he finally got released from jail, him and the band had got together and they had did the David Letterman show. And because I remember back then I was watching David Letterman like religiously, Monday through Friday. I was watching him religiously. And David Letterman, here they are performing one of their hit songs from the album number 4, Your Friends and Mine, everybody. Stone Temple Pilots. They were performing Atlanta, which anybody that knows that song, that's the closer for that album. And I just remember going, my God, dude, like all the momentum that you all missed when that album initially dropped. Because I remember I was gun-ho on that album. I was like, this album is I blasted the fuck out of that album. And I was excited to see them on tour because I wanted to go see them on tour. But Scott got into the legal trouble. And then a year and a half later, they decided that, I don't know how they came to the decision, but yeah.
Just to scrounge up what they could.
Yeah. And I just remember going, no, that ship has that ship has sailed. Yeah. You guys missed it. So to your point, the stories that you're able to tell when picking up that physical media, man, nothing beats it. Nothing fucking beats it. But speaking of entertainment and all that, I want to get your thoughts on something here. So apparently, we know that the Joker movie, the sequel, it's coming out. What's that? September, October. There's already some controversy brewing online. It's sparking up an interesting debate. So for those of you that's not aware of this, Joker director Todd Phillips, he confirmed in an interview with Empire that Joaquin Phoenix's portrayal of the Joker for the upcoming sequel will not evolve the character into the criminal mastermind, a.k.a. the clown prince of crime. In an interview with Empire, Todd Phillips had this to say: because Arthur clearly is not a criminal mastermind, he never was that. While Fleck isn't angling to become a criminal figurehead in Arkham, the world is watching him. Arthur has become this symbol to people, this unwitting symbol, now paying for the crimes of the first film, but at the same time finding the only thing he ever wanted, which was love. That's always what he's been about, even though he's been pushed and pulled in all these directions. So we try just to make the most pure version of that. So that has a lot of people going, WTF. You can't help but wonder, and I didn't see anybody mention this, but you can't help but wonder if Todd Phillips is maybe throwing this up as a smokescreen because he's not trying to give key details away from the upcoming movie, or if he is being sincere and saying, no, this is where we're going. Now, in regards to Lady Gaga and her portrayal of Harley Quinn, Todd Phillips says that Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn takes some inspiration from the comics, but is mostly a unique interpretation, saying in part, she became the way how Charles Manson had girls that idolized him.
Well, I guess I would say that's a unique spin on it. Only time will tell in reference to how that fits in with the narrative of what people think about it. I can see where he's going with it in reference to, what I've seen thus far, whether it be in comics or other movies or what have you. But I think that becomes some people's interpretation in reference to him being this criminal mastermind or what have you. Interesting in reference to the Harley Quinn character. I don't know. In reference to how to feel about that. That's the way the trailer came off, though.
Yeah. Wait. That's the way the trailer came off. How? Well, to you, as far as
that he had found love and that's one of the major story arcs that they were going to go with. But hearing the way he put that, the director, makes me think back to the trailer and think that that's pretty spot on.
You know, you can't
in reference to,
Yeah, no, I hear you. You can't help but wonder if he's being sincere and he's not trying to put up a smoke screen. If he were interested to do a sequel, so one more, make it a trilogy, would they then tackle Arthur becoming the clown prince of crime? Would they maybe then do that? Because I would love, because I got to be honest with you, and everybody else, I would love to see Todd Phillips' interpretation of Batman. Because it just feels to me, this arc that we're on with Arthur and everything, I would love to see this go in a direction where, whether Arthur likes it or not, yes, to follow up with what Todd Phillips said, the world is now watching Arthur. He's got the whole world in his hands, okay? And he is so influential. He has so much power over these that we saw at the end of Joker how people were gravitating towards him and everything. I would like to see a continuation of that in some form. If it's not fully tackled and embraced in this sequel coming up, it definitely, to its truest form, needs to be exploited in the third act. And I think the way that you can pretty much do it in that third act, I'm going to say something that's very unique, and I think this would be a fun challenge. I don't know if Todd Phillips has thought this far yet, if Joaquin Phoenix has thought this far yet, if Lady Gaga has even thought this far yet. But if they were to do a third one, a very simple idea. The Joker is trying to adapt with his whole love affair with Harley Quinn and everything, right? And we're some years removed from when they both escaped Arkham, right? I think it would be interesting from the Joker's perspective how he views this new mystery figure that has popped up in Gotham City that is fighting crime. There is this mysterious, shadowy figure that is described as a bat, a giant bat that is running around. I would like to see through his eyes, understand his feelings about this whole bat figure character, right? Kind of treated in a Morgan Freeman $1 Million Baby type of perspective. Did you ever see $1 Million Baby?
Yeah, but was Morgan Freeman in it?
Morgan Freeman was in it. Remember, the movie was told through his character's eyes of what all he witnessed with Clint Eastwood's character and his relationship with Hilary Swank.
I had forgotten about Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
Okay, now it's coming back to me.
If you spun it in that kind of way, but tell the story of the Batman through the eyes of the Joker. Mm-hmm. And it pretty much all ends with the Joker finally crossing paths with Batman. No epic fight encounter, nothing like that. I think that would be a very...
That's a very fresh take.
Yeah.
It's almost like the take that they used with the Elvis movie. You know, nobody had ever done a movie on Elvis through the Colonel Tom Parker's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Ever. Mm-hmm. So it is definitely a fresh take. And, you know, it would take a special person with a special vision to nail it.
Yeah. Yeah. And depending on how well this Joker sequel does, Todd Phillips might be the guy that can
take that in
one more time. Yeah, one more time. Because in the comics, the Joker has always felt that he and the Batman kindred spirits. Mm-hmm. It's pretty much been, yo, don't try to make yourself come off like you're holier than thou. We're two sides of the same damn coin, of the same damn hustle. So don't even, that's always been Joker's approach. So I would love to see that. That would be definitely fresh. So my fingers are crossed now that I've put that out there. I'm very curious what you guys think. Sound off on that. Elsewhere, sticking with entertainment, not sure if you heard about this, Tams. Warner Brothers Discovery. Not good. Not good. Looks like Warner Brothers Discovery is going to be facing off against the NBA in court in a media rights lawsuit. This has gotten extremely ugly so very fast. So the main bullet points, basically, Warner Brothers Discovery, they had finally put together a NBA package, and they basically said, look, you know, they basically put the offer together to match one of the offers that the NBA was getting. And it would appear as though what they tried to match was Amazon's deal. So they matched it dollar for dollar. At this point, you know, you're looking at this, and the last thing you're thinking is, okay, well, since they matched it, all right, so we're good to go. Like, it's a done deal. NBA back on TNT. All right, everybody, good night. See you this coming season for NBA action. Not so fast. The NBA basically deciding, yeah, nice. So we're going to go with the NBA on Amazon. Amazon's our buddies. And this has pissed off a lot of people on social media, without a doubt. Even Charles Barkley had sound off about everything that was going on. I definitely want to pull up his comments and read it to you guys. Keep in mind, this is coming fresh off of Warner Brothers Discovery laying thousands of people off. That went down like 10 days ago. They did all these cuts because supposedly the way they're trying to restructure everything, they're trying to shift focus to their digital departments, because apparently there's some stuff going on behind the scenes where they're going to be launching more apps, things of that nature. But like, I'm hearing all this and I'm going, so first off, as a fan, I'm going, so wait a minute, this is it? This is it for the NBA on TNT? We're pretty much going to have the 2024 to 25 season, and after that, we're done? It is a very sad situation. You're looking at this and you're hoping that things will change, but I don't see how. Charles Barkley has been quoted in a recent interview with Dan Patrick saying, look, I'm no damn fool. I have spoken to all the networks. Keep in mind, Charles Barkley said he was retiring. But at the same time, when pressed by Dan Patrick, if he's entertained any offers, Charles Barkley has said, look, I've spoken to all the networks. I've spoken to all three of them. And, look, they all can talk to me all they want. But my whole thing is, what do you have? They all keep telling me how they're inking this, they're trying to do this, they're trying to do that. And it's okay, well, talk to me.
When you have something
Right.
that's concrete.
Right.
Because you're just giving me a whole lot of maybes right now.
Right. So this is
Interesting.
This is sad on so many levels. Feel free. Go ahead, jump in. Share your thoughts.
Ooh. So I will be honest with you in reference to this topic. I didn't know any of this. I don't mind change if it makes things better. But it seems just like there's so much confusion right now in reference to what's going to happen, what they're going to do. Well, this was, our first choice, but then they're laying off thousands of people. That sounds to me like you are now trying to get the capital of what you just spent to get this new endeavor.
Mm-hmm.
Number one. Number two, doesn't actually sound like you have a deal to me. And it's like, okay, well, wait a minute. That doesn't sound right either.
Keep in mind, TNT is suing the NBA's $76 billion deal with Amazon over its fans.
Well, I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, okay, so you leave the staple with the cable company to essentially, to have that move forward. And then only to say, well, actually, we were really going to go with them anyway.
Barkley saying clearly the NBA has wanted to break up with us from the beginning. I'm not sure TNT ever had a chance. TNT matched the money, but the league knows Amazon and these tech companies are the only ones willing to pay for the rights when they double in the future. The NBA didn't want to piss them off. It's a sad day when owners and commissioners choose money over the fans. It just sucks.
There's so much greed in this country in reference to deals. It really is truly about the almighty dollar, and who can get eyes on the product the most.
Mm. Elaborating more on the Dan Patrick show, what I really think happened was because they brought in another partner, this was a last-ditch cash grab by the NBA and the players. Mm-hmm. That's why I think they signed an 11-year deal, sort of like, hey, let's get as much money as we possibly can right now. This is going to be our last bite of the apple because TNT, ABC, ESPN, they're not going to pay more going forward. That's why I think they're like, let's get in bed with the streaming because they're going to be the only people that can afford us in 11 years. That's just my honest opinion.
Going back to the digital media content. That's in reference to basically saying it again. It's easier. It's more, it's the popular thing. It's the popular kid in school right now. Mm-hmm. Basically. Because, and the more that you give it acclaim, the more you use it, the more you buy into it, all of that makes it grow bigger. Because, said here, said that here, said that the other is now, okay, well, let 5 people down the street is going to do the same thing because these 3 people here made money on it. Mm-hmm. And then it just grows bigger. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what's happening here. Mm-hmm. And that's, and you almost hate to say that TNT is like the mom and pop record store. And that's actually really sad to say. Because when we were growing up, TNT was it.
Yeah. So if you were gonna get cable,
You wanted it for, that was one of the stations you wanted.
yeah. Besides HBO and Showtime, that was one of the networks you wanted.
Yeah. So now it's, yeah, we're going to go get our money because we're going to sign this deal because they can pay us the most because they have it to do so.
Mm-hmm.
We can't get more over here because they're limited as it is.
Mm-hmm.
Sad. And you know what? I can see why TNT is doing what they're doing.
Dan Patrick and many others, even fans, look, whatever happens, we get that Ernie is trying to be loyal to TNT and everything, but man, if there's some type of way that Amazon or whoever can just look, it's business as usual. You guys can steal.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because you just can't help but think about all the jobs that's going to be lost.
Mm-hmm.
Right, you just can't help but think about all of that. So you kind of want to keep all that together as much as humanly possible.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing is certain: the new head for Warner Brothers that botched this whole deal with the NBA, David Zaslav, he has butchered this big time.
Mm-hmm.
He is, of course, he is the puppet, the guy that's pulling the strings, who is, he hasn't been boss that long. They're just royally fucking up. I've seen that sales have been plummeting these past couple of years with this new regime in place. Look, somebody
Sound like time for a new person.
somebody's losing the job. One of these two, if not both of them, Beavis and Butthead, they like they need to be shown the door, because this is my whole thing. You lose the NBA on TNT. How the fuck do you rebound? What are you gonna continue to show marathons of Big Bang Theory,
right? And the same tired ass movies.
Because
essentially, without the NBA, TNT is no more than your average network.
Yeah,
it's not.
Yeah.
Why would people want to tune into you? There's now no reason. And TNT is trying to do this lawsuit because they're grasping at straws.
Yeah.
They are a sinking ship, and they are trying to figure out how the hell they're going to rebound.
Yeah. This is going to get uglier.
It is for sure.
It's going to get super fucking.
But the funny thing is, in reference to the head of Warner Brothers, which I'm still mad at Warner Brothers because they took away the studio store, but that's a whole nother topic for another day. But if you are losing profit margins consecutively over 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, 3 years, wouldn't you think that the person that oversees that person would be like, hold the fuck up?
Right.
Maybe it's time we go in a different direction.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, and I get Ernie's loyalty, and it's respectable for that.
Yeah.
And then, some of the other people that are, trying to be together as far as keeping it a team and keeping it a show. But most people nowadays, they're out for themselves, and they're going to go where you're going to pay them the most.
Exactly. Speaking of Warner Brothers Discovery, Tony Khan is continuing to say that everything is fine and peachy as far as the negotiations with Warner Brothers Discovery. He was even quoted as saying that as far as Ring of Honor goes, I knew Ring of Honor, they had just did a pay-per-view less than 24 hours ago, which is kind of silly because you had the ROH pay-per-view and you had AEW Rampage on. Like that, I don't think there should have been an episode of Rampage. They should have just done some type of a movie in its place or whatever. That was funny, by the way, too, because I gave that episode a 4.5 out of 10. So this was my second. This was my second week, back to back, very low ratings. And I got to tell you, majority of the readers, they've appreciated what I've had to say. And they basically were like, okay, so Leah's saying this is pretty much a one-show match. Pretty much the first half was that one match. It was good. Rest of it, fuck it, roll out. Okay, I can respect that. Okay. One guy particularly, he was kind of butthurt. He's like, well, can't you... why don't you just watch the Fight TV stream? It don't make sense to me why you're sitting through all those commercials. Just watch it uninterrupted on Fight TV. And I said to him, I said, well, wait a minute. I said, okay, so many questions. One, is this available for the American audience to check out? Two, does it involve a subscription? Because if it does, yeah, I'm not doing that. Number 3, okay, say I'm able to watch it without the commercials. That's really not going to help this week's rating for this episode. What? We're talking about going from a 4.5 to maybe a 5?
So a 4.5 to maybe a 4.45 because you didn't have to sit through commercials.
I mean, come on.
But why would you... I mean, that just makes no business sense. Why would... Number one, why would you put your company or put a company product on to rival another company product? That's stupid.
It is.
Number one.
Yeah.
Number 2.
You're rivaling yourself. That's
exactly.
That's hilarious.
You're rivaling yourself. It's stupid. There's so many red flags here in reference to the AEW company. If they actually got someone who was not Tony Khan, bring in some actual people that know what they're doing. I was sitting back there sitting back and saying to myself, while, Lee's talking, if they really put the right people in the right places, they could actually rival WWE.
Yeah.
If they put the right people in the right places to get the asses in the seats and not alienate the people that are wanting to try to watch it and saying, God damn, that was a fucked up episode.
Yeah.
Versus, oh, hey, I really enjoyed that. It just, week after week after week, I only hear mostly bad.
What I would like to see happen, and I'm going to talk about it more this coming week, but the shows need a major overhaul. And look, here's the thing. They've got the right people in the company. That's the thing. They've got the right people. They just aren't put in the right place because Tony Khan is being so goddamn hands-on / OCD with everything that...
And you don't even realize you're hurting your own company with doing that because you don't know what you don't know.
Right. I told that reader, by the way, I said, I appreciate you. I told him flat out, I said, I appreciate you. I said, but you need to be talking to the 411 Mania staff about paying for a subscription to that so that we can benefit as the writers, so that we can benefit more from, because asking somebody to come out of their own pocket.
I have a funny analogy in reference to, so basically your subscription to this lovely Fight TV would basically eat your profit.
Right. Right.
So, yeah, thanks, but no thanks.
So I'm essentially writing for free?
Exactly.
Yeah, no.
That makes as much sense as AEW putting a match on with ROH.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, Tony Khan was asked about during the media call for the Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor pay-per-view, he was asked about the recent rumors on a pending broadcast rights deal between AEW and Warner Brothers Discovery. He was asked about the rumors of the deal being done in principle, as reported by WrestleNomics' Brandon Thurston. So he was given it on a silver platter. Rather than go in that direction, he decides to take a shot at WWE and their public relation representatives, as they're the ones that pretty much are putting this stuff out there in regards to the negotiations between AEW and Warner Brothers Discovery, saying, I don't usually do this, but since Brandon brought it up and asked, I had a major number of the wrestling media mentioned to me yesterday. WWE is telling people that, and I don't know why WWE is telling people about our media rights deal. I don't know whether it's any of their business.
That part I agree with. If that's the case, and that's true, that part I agree with.
Let me keep going. I don't really understand why WWE PR calls people and talks about my business. WWE PR is telling people that the deal is done, and that the deal is done at the same level that it was going to be our previous deal. That's not the case. I don't know why WWE PR and why major wrestling media members who are very credible and never lie to me, I don't know why they are telling people that. It's none of their business. I think WWE PR really gets involved in a lot of things they shouldn't get involved in. I can tell you that this is very untrue. When we make a deal for AEW, it's going to be a great deal with a big increase over what we've been doing. We're in a really good position and have been doing great things here despite what they're trying to do to us. Thanks. So you're being asked about ROH and AEW, and you instead decide to go into this direction about mentioning the WWE. Like,
does it remind you of anybody?
No, but that's besides the point, because my whole thing is bad media or good media is coverage in general. So why even mention...
True, but he's deflecting.
Why even mention he's deflecting, but he's also name dropping? Like, why are we name dropping when you're supposed to be promoting your own goddamn pay-per-view?
Because
when you're
it
supposed
gives
to be...
it credibility when you name drop. I mean, at least from my perspective.
Look. If I'm promoting my event, if I'm, Lee Sanders presents the best damn rap show, period. Right? And I'm talking about how 50 Cent trying to sabotage my show, and like, whether it's true or not, I'm not going to be mentioning that in front of a microphone. I'm not going to be mentioning that at the podium. I'm going to let my legal team
handle it.
Okay?
Again, the right people in the right places.
Yeah, no doubt about that. This leads me to I don't know who his PR, this is almost like dealing with Trump.
And that's why I say, remind you of anybody?
It's like, dude, shut the fuck up. Let your PR people and your lawyer team fucking handle this, and don't, hey,
it's not necessary.
I would have appreciated how he said, that is a really good question. I appreciate you asking. I know a lot of our fans are very concerned. They want to know what's going on. Look, I know that with what happened with the NBA on TNT, that's got fans wondering big time what's going on with AEW. Rest knowing that AEW ain't going nowhere. We just got to work out some kinks, but we ain't going nowhere. We look forward to making a announcement very shortly.
Mm-hmm. And that's how you do it. That's, that's how you do it.
This guy wears so many goddamn hats.
He probably doesn't even know what he's doing.
No. No, he does not know what he's doing. It's fucking ridiculous. So,
And the funny thing is, generally, most people that have that kind of company have people that are, for lack of better words, jobbers. They are specifically set to do a job. They are, what am I trying to say? Basically, they are put to do that job to help out the leader of the company. So they don't have to focus on everything.
right.
And they can then focus on it as a one goal instead of all 5-10 million pieces.
Right. Very weird. Very fucking
He's
weird.
in too many places all at once, and it just is making. I don't think he's making progress. I think he's degressing.
And this is the same guy that said just about barely a week before these comments that he would love to work with WWE and put a super show together. Yeah, I bet you would. Because it would
give you some numbers.
Yeah. Two more items to talk about before we get ready to wrap it up here. So I wanted to pick your brain on this one. So Rikishi, you remember Rikishi?
The one that lost that weight?
No, almost, yeah. Blonde hair.
Oh, yeah, the one that looks like a whisk broom. Mm-hmm.
Big ass, yeah. You know, his son is Jey Uso.
The one with the blonde hair?
Yeah. Big ass. He be backing it up, smacking it, rubbing it and all that. Oh, no. You're thinking of Solo Sikoa.
Oh, I was like, wait a minute.
No. Rikishi, cool.
I know.
Okay, good. His son is Jey Uso.
Oh, okay.
So I bring up Rikishi because he was quoted in a interview recently, and I want to get your thoughts about this one. So this is a good one. So Rikishi was interviewed, and he was asked how he has been liking the creative direction for Jey Uso. And I'm not going to play the audio. I don't feel like I could have easily went and found the audio and all that, but I don't feel like doing all that. I'm going to read to you some of the transcript highlights from this. But, the main bullet points, it seems that Rikishi is not a fan of what the WWE is currently doing with his son, as you can't help but wonder if Rikishi is really doing right by what he is saying here, or if he's doing his son harm. So on the Off the Top podcast, Rikishi had this to say: "I got hairs on the back of my neck every time I watch him, Jey Uso. SummerSlam, where is he? Let's write him into he likes mommy, Rhea Ripley. Mm-hmm. Mommy, that's the best that those writers got. Let's write this guy into a relationship with mommy. What are y'all trying to do? Break his marriage up? Y'all can't put him in a good storyline, so what you gonna do now? God forbid you guys try to tell her tongue kiss each other on Raw. Shit, that better not happen." Now, keep in mind, when this podcast was recorded, it was recorded before the July 22nd edition of WWE Raw, where Jey Uso competed in the main event. He teamed up with the Intercontinental Champion Sami Zayn. In regards to the bloodline, Rikishi had this to say: "When it comes to the bloodline, this is what gets me going. The bloodline, when people talk about the bloodline, oh, we tired of the bloodline. You can be tired all you want for a few years, right? But we've been going through this shit for 75 years plus. You don't think we tired? But we the type of people, we tired, but we keep coming back. We keep finding solutions, not excuses. Solutions, and the solutions needs to be the best you can be in that squared circle. Otherwise, if we not over in the squared circle, move us out. 100%. 100%. If you can put asses in seats, if you can knock those merchandise sales out, if you can bring up WWE's revenue, TKO's revenue, If the bloodline is not that anymore, I get it. I get it, y'all. Go ahead and just knock it then. But you cannot knock the bloodline that's been holding professional wrestling companies as WWE on their backs for the last 4, 5, 6 years now. And shit, they still holding it without the main guy there. Who's the main guy? Roman motherfucking Reigns. Come on. He had some additional comments to say, but just getting a piece of that, there's a lot right there, but really you break it down in two sections. Mm-hmm. What's your say?
First thing in reference to his new story arc with Mommy. I'm not a huge fan of it. I mean, it's an interesting story arc, but to Rikishi's point, how many of those superstars are married and have had storylines just like that? Quite a few. So this isn't anything new. You're in the sports entertainment business, but you're also in the business of storytelling. So it's no different than an actor acting. What he does when he goes home is what he does when he goes home. Now, the other thing is, when you act a certain way, night after night after night, there is a possibility of closeness growing together. Just what is. So I get his point. I think he would prefer to have any other storyline than that one. Because Jay's popularity has skyrocketed through the roof in the last 2 years. So, but that's usually kind of what happens in reference to the storyline portion of it. There is always some, side piece, some woman, some what have you, generally. Now, as it pertains to the bloodline, I agree with him wholeheartedly. There's nothing in reference to the bloodline that he said that I disagree with at all. Mm-hmm. They are freaking doing a countdown to Roman Reigns coming back. Whether he is or whether he isn't, they're doing one. Mm-hmm. So you can't tell me that it's not relevant. Can't. Mm-hmm. Because it is. And he's the top dog right now. He's putting asses in seats, merch sales, all of that. Guess what? You might be tired of it, but you might be one person amongst tens of thousands. So, it's really a people's vote.
Right.
That's just what it is.
I know Rikishi has seen a lot in his day being involved in the industry. You can just think off the top of your head about some of the acts of adultery that's happened. I mean, most infamous one being Edge when he was cheating behind
Beth Phoenix.
No. Oh, hell no.
Sorry.
No. He's been on point since he's gotten Beth Phoenix. But no, I remember when Edge was sleeping around with Lita. Lita was dating Matt Hardy for a long time. Remember how ugly that got? With WWE ultimately going, okay, well, you know what, Matt, you're fired. We like that Edge. Of course, Kurt Angle, Karen Jarrett, Jeff Jarrett, that whole fiasco. Mm-hmm. You know, there's so many instances where John Cena, I remember when John Cena was sleeping around with he was sleeping around with Mickey James. He was sleeping around with Victoria. Both with these women, seeing somebody else, married to somebody else. Just, I mean, just the list goes on and on and on and on and on. So maybe he has seen his fair share
I'm sure he
of
has.
relationships getting, messed
apart.
up. I mean, hell, something more recent, something more recent that a lot of listeners should definitely be able to relate to. For whatever the circumstance is still very shady, kind of fucked up. But when Sammy Guevara had proposed to his longtime girlfriend, and then a couple of months later, he pretty much hooks up with Tay Conti, a fellow wrestler. I mean, I'm happy that because they now got a kid, and seems like they're trying to do everything on the up, and then that's great and everything. Shit, Triple H, China, Stephanie McMahon. I mean, there's so many examples. So maybe Rikishi has seen his fair share, and maybe there's a part of him
He
that,
doesn't want to see it happen to his son.
because maybe he knows something that we don't know in regards to Jey Uso.
True.
That Jay can't just leave it in the pans, that if he's put in a precarious position, that maybe, but I'm saying, no, I say this to mention this, then that's, Jay ain't no little boy. Jay is a grown-ass man. If he has issues staying committed, if he has issues, because he's been with Jey Uso, he's been with his wife, my God.
Quite some time.
I think they've been together almost 20 years.
Well, the funny thing is Rhea just got married.
She just got married, but it don't
mean anything.
That don't mean anything when people like to play.
True.
But my whole thing is, if Rikishi knows something that the wrestling community does not know, my whole thing is, he shouldn't be broadcasting this. True. Even the remote littlest thing of a subtle hint that Jey Uso is unfaithful. Like, that's damaging. That's very damaging. And then the other side to that is, yo, man, I get Proud Papa, but don't fuck up your son's push.
True.
You don't think this is going to get back to WWE, and WWE's going to be like, what the fuck is going on with your dad? Something we don't know that you need to tell us? Like, why is he throwing us under? Why is he throwing us under the bus? Why is he? Now look, we as a wrestling community, we all could be in agreement with the way things went down at Money in the Bank. That should have been Jey Uso, and the fact that it went with Drew McIntyre and it was all to basically advance a story arc. We all are in agreement. They didn't need to use the Money in the Bank briefcase for that. They could have got the same results another way, but still crown. And the question I brought up when I did the Money in the Bank predictions, I said, if not Jey Uso at that time, in that moment, then when is it going to be Jay's opportunity? I'm surprised Rikishi isn't more hot over the fact that the Yeet Man didn't win Money in the Bank, as opposed to, and look, there's nothing wrong with being involved in a story arc with Rhea Ripley, because Rhea Ripley is the #1 female merchandise pusher for fucking WWE. Like, even when she was out, her merchandise was in the top 3. Girl is fucking killing it. When it comes to the Jarvis Center tickets for the meet and greets that's coming up, what's that, in August? Rhea sold out so damn quick, it wasn't even funny. You know who ain't sold out? CM Punk. Last I saw, CM Punk did not sell out. So the fact that she was able to sell out CM Punk shit while CM Punk shit is still out there, that's a testament to her popularity. Okay? So, Yeet Man, you don't, like, what the fuck are you talking about? You don't want your son to be? No. the hottest fucking angle that's going on right now. Liv Morgan is fucking over. She's finding her confidence. She's finally stringing it all together. Dominic, the man, can just come out there and not even say a fucking word, and he gets booed out of the arena.
Yep.
Like, how can you not like this? He's being aligned. Like, what, do you want him to get involved in some silly squash matches or get paired up with R-Truth?
Yeah. Nah. Agreed. But, you know, it goes back to essentially piggybacking a little bit in reference to what I was saying. You know, when people are put in situations of that nature, sometimes things do tend to happen. Just what is. But why wouldn't you want your son to be put in with the top merchandiser? He's headed that way. They're giving him the push in that way for that reason. So, you know, grant you, yeah, it's probably not the way you would have wanted it. But let's be honest, Rikishi, how many of us already know that sex sells?
Exactly. And he should be very familiar with, because he was from that Attitude Era. He knows that sex ultimately sells. You can never go wrong with selling a little sex. So, but if Jey Uso has any type of if Jey Uso has any type of issues, though, that's for him to speak up. And because see, the way Rikishi is coming off, he's almost coming off like
protected father.
No. Who's that father with the sons? Lamar Ball. Oh my God, he's almost coming off like just go chill somewhere, you know. And look, I got a bold prediction to make. I don't see enough people talking about this. This whole shit that's going on with this new bloodline. Make no mistake about it. Jey Uso is gonna find himself right back in the mix of that, because there's gonna be two distinct bloodline families that I see that are gonna be feuding with one another.
Yep, and he's gonna have to choose.
He's not only gonna have to choose, but I can see him ultimately, the way this is mapping out, I see it being Solo Sikoa, Tama Tangaloa, Jacob Fatu, whoever else they want to have over there, versus Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, Jimmy Uso, Roman Reigns. Like, I see all of that coming ahead. I mean, any fan can see this clear as day. So Jey Uso is definitely going to find himself very shortly right back into the mix of that whole bloodline saga. People just need to chill, enjoy the scenic route for all it's worth, right?
It's a side piece on what his main thing is.
Right.
You know, while the bloodline is
a side quest too, yeah.
A side quest, right. You know, while waiting on the main thing to come back, they're doing a little side something. Yeah. And that's what this is.
Yeah. One last thing. So Bobby Lashley and MVP looks as though WWE is going to be going in a different direction. As you know, WWE looks like they did, according to the reports by PW Insider and a few other people, it looks like they did try to offer Bobby Lashley a new deal, but it's safe to say that the numbers were pretty low, and Bobby Lashley is like, yeah, that doesn't work for me, bud. Let me try to see if I can get my worth out there on the independent scene. And I'm sure WWE is going, yeah, sure, have at it. Bobby Lashley is a phenomenal specimen of a man. He is in the best shape. I've heard nothing but good things about him through the years. Nothing but good things said about him. Very nice guy. His work ethic compared to others, I mean, he is truly dedicated. He is dedicated. What you see of him physically, that is hours upon hours of work, dedication. I heard somebody, I can't remember where I heard it from, but I heard somebody say something along the lines of any opportunity this man has to work out, like, he will fucking do it. If that means he's got a, maybe he's doing a media call from his hotel. If he's got to have some weights, a treadmill, whatever, he's gonna fucking do it. Whatever he needs to do, he's gonna do it to look in the best shape humanly possible. 48 years old. I don't see this guy slowing down just yet. Not when he looks the way he does. What's your thoughts about Bobby Lashley, if these reports are true that they try to give him a lowball offer? And it's somewhat understandable, right? Because you see these talents that are, they're getting up there in age, and even if they haven't been racking in the injuries or whatnot, it's been pretty obvious with what we've seen of Lashley as of late. Keep in mind, we haven't seen him on TV in a couple of months, but when we did see him, he pretty much was, he wasn't being squashed, but he definitely was pretty much being used as enhancement talent to try to elevate younger folks and all that. What do you make? Two-part question for you, because you've watched his career for a good minute in WWE. Do you think WWE is dropping the ball on Lashley? And the second part to that, do you think Lashley can command whatever it is he's seeking on the independents?
Well, 9 times out of 10, he's going to go up and hit up 9 times out of 10, he's going to go hit AEW up first. I don't know if... So I think he could command what number he's thinking, depending on who he asks. The second part question to that is...
Or the answer.
Not the question, but right, as you said, the answer. The other part of that is, will they really do enough with him? He's got the build. He's got the build. He's got the charisma. He's got the talent. That is there. But what can they do with it? I think I heard rumors that, him and MVP and one other person were trying to, I think, get back together and form back the Hurt Business. But again, rumors. I don't know if it's true. Honestly, for me, I really do with this one. I think that WWE dropped the ball. I do. I really do think that they could have done so much more with him. Maybe not them, but him. Than they did. I think
that Hurt Business was the shit.
Yeah.
They killed that way too soon.
Yeah.
Him, Shelton Benjamin, MVP, Cedric Alexander.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think they dropped the ball on that. I think maybe they focused so much on other talent that maybe they just kind of made him an afterthought. But I think they could have gotten a lot more story arc out of his character. And maybe even lowballed him a little bit in doing so. So I would be, if I was in his shoes, I would probably have done the same. And say, you know what? At least I can try and see what I can make on my own. Versus taking what the almighty WWE is going to give me. I get that.
When I look at Bobby Lashley, just a fine specimen of a man. He just looks like a real life fucking superhero. I look at him and I just marvel at the fact that, wow, here is this guy, 48 years of age. Damn good shape. Damn good shape. Hard to believe because you're going, well, this guy has always been in great shape, but this is the best shape that he's ever been, period. And you're going, wait, say what? Like, yes, believe it or not, he's in even better shape now than he was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And you're like, wait, how? And hey, good genetics and testament to
His
his regimen. His regimen, yeah, without a doubt. I just look at all of those things and how MVP was able to really help out Lashley, flush out a personality more, be better on the microphone. All right, he's finally stringing it all together. Is Bobby Lashley. All of those things combined, and also looking at the fact that, well, wait a minute here, we really don't have a larger-than-life, popular, overall recognizable big black man in the WWE.
True.
Like, once Mark Henry left, that was it.
That was it.
It was like, okay, who's filling that void? And WWE has been failing miserably since Mark Henry rolled out. I mean, look, you want to say, oh, well, what about Omaz? Omaz, we ain't seen that man in months. Last I saw, I literally read an article the other day. He's pretty much doing dark matches, live shows. That's it. The word is that they damn near have given up on this guy. So if we were to hear in a few months or whenever his contract comes up for renewal that, yeah, they're going in a different direction, you're going, well, that sucks because Omaz got the look, he's got the size. What the hell? But ever since really Mark Henry, nobody else is. And I think Obafemi is going to be great. I know he's tearing it up down there in NXT right now. That's great. But, man, you don't have – you got to be able to pass the torch, so to speak. You got to be able to have, okay, let's have this guy work with – if you don't have that Bobby Lashley in place, if you don't have that Mark Henry in place – so that eventually when Obafemi or eventually when and insert this name, but more specifically, we're talking about powerhouse black WWE superstars. You really only have one guy right now, and it's Obafemi. When you look at the rest of the WWE roster, minus if the reports are true and Lashley is gone, there's nobody else there. Nobody else there. So, and I think Lashley can still go. He's done a phenomenal job in dodging the injury bug compared to others. He's done a phenomenal job dodging the injury bug. You just can't help but look at all of those things. He's got so many things that you go check, that you can't help but go, okay, you know what? I want to give you a low ball offer. I want to cut your money down a little bit, but I can make up for it by doing these things with you more creatively. So you might be getting less, but the opportunities, and look, if you're able to crush those opportunities, then
we can
revisit it. Right? And I would like to believe something like that had happened, but I don't suspect that it has. So I'm with you. I think WWE has dropped the ball big time because this legit could have been their opportunity to, much like with Bill Goldberg, much like with Brock Lesnar, this was their opportunity to really, okay, now we're unshackled. Now we can really, really go there with Lashley, and it just seems that for whatever respective reason now, as far as on the independents, I'm with you. Whatever his asking price is, Tony Khan will definitely But what does his future hold? Does it mean that he's going to be losing to Marco Stunt, or
Right.
or jobbing to Leo
Right.
Rush, or
And that's what I'm
Orange
saying.
Cassidy?
Will he get what he's looking for creatively?
Right.
Yeah, you might get the money, but is it really going to fill your cup?
What I would like to see happen with Bobby Lashley, because he's already done TNA. I damn sure don't want to see him do AEW. I would like to see him go to New Japan. I would like to see him go overseas and just tear it up in New Japan for a bit. If he were to do something in the States, I would like to see him not be tied down to a new contract and just work independently, just be a freelancer. You just never know when and where he's going to pop up. I would like to see him roll from that capacity. Now let's talk about MVP. MVP is somebody that is a couple of years older than Bobby Lashley, obviously. He just recently got some stem cell work done because I think it was on his knee or something, because he's trying to do all these. He's trying to patch up his body so he can get back out there and wrestle again, because he's still interested in wrestling. But MVP, such a, I mean, okay wrestler, but a really good mouthpiece, a really good manager. I thought
He's better as a manager.
he's
Than
better. He's
as a
definitely
wrestler.
better. Yeah, he's definitely better as a manager. 50 years old, going to be turning 51 this fall. So, and apparently MVP has been retweeting and liking certain posts where people are saying Triple H, Paul Levesque, and WWE are racist for. 'Cause they're responding to the reports about WWE, basically, hey MVP, sorry, but there's the door. We're gonna go in a different direction. So, you hear that. I don't know about you, but I hear that. I go, well, maybe it's good that WWE is parting ways with this guy, because to even like and retweet stuff like that, context is everything. And sadly, in this day and age, when you like and retweet posts like that, you're basically showing an endorsement of, yeah, I agree with
That
those
goes.
sentiments. And
It goes back to what you said last week in reference to the Hulk Hogan and that social media influencer.
oh, yes.
It's another version of it by exactly the endorsement. And you know no company wants that to be put into light, even if it was the case. Because if you look at the history will give you inklings into it by itself without saying anything. But having the endorsement doesn't look good for him.
Right. No, it doesn't. It doesn't look good. And I see MVP operating that way. I just go, man, all these years and you was getting good money, taking care of yourself, your livelihood. Look, I don't want to assume, because maybe there's some things that he's aware of that we're not aware of, that maybe at a later date he can talk about if he's ever feeling comfortable in doing so. But to even like and retweet and share, repost some of that rhetoric that's online, you can't help but go, there's a time and place, and like right now, this isn't the time, this isn't the place. It just comes off so, like, as much as I would want to raise an eyebrow and go, WWE, what the fuck? I mean, don't get me wrong. I look at Bobby Lashley and I see what they're doing. I'm going, I see what happened with my girls, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. I'm going, okay. I see how they're doing Obafemi right now, and I'm nodding my head going, okay. I look at Trick Williams, and I'm saying that is a promising guy. I can't wait to see him on the main roster. I'm looking at Carmelo Hayes, and I'm going, hey, definitely in the next 5 years, a future megastar in the making, somebody that can definitely carry the workload for the company. Will he be given those opportunities? Time will tell. So I see a lot of my black brothers and sisters that, okay, I see you. I see your hustle, and, I'm expecting big things from you. And now that there's no Vince McMahon at play, okay, let's see what happens here. But with MVP, such a damn good mouthpiece.
Mm-hmm.
Poorly underutilized because you look at him and you just go, okay, you know what? Eventually plug and play him with Jade Cargill. Okay, you know what? Plug and play him with the Street Profits.
Mm-hmm.
Plug and play him with Carmelo Hayes even. Plug and play him with Obafemi. Plug and play him with Dominic Mysterio. Plug and play him with Liv Morgan. There's so many great damn combinations that you can do with MVP as a mouthpiece, especially for someone that is struggling to get their personality over and everything.
Funny thing, I was just thinking that.
So many people, and I mean, for God's sake, you got Paul Ellering. All due respect to the great Paul Ellering. I know Karrion Kross is a big fan of the guy's work and everything, but Paul Ellering doesn't offer, at least in front of the camera, I want to make sure I preface that, in front of the camera, he doesn't offer jack shit. And MVP is able to go, like, tell me how that makes sense. Paul Ellering continues to pop up with Karrion Kross, Scarlett, Authors of Pain, this whole Testament stable, not saying shit, getting a check, and yet MVP, like, how does that make sense? How does it don't?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
That
doesn't make sense.
So for MVP, I think he'll do well on the independents.
Mm-hmm.
If he's a smart man, he better go right to AEW and get that money.
Yeah.
50 years old, this stage of his career. And look, I'm not really sure what his financial situation is, but
right.
Oh, you know what though? AEW, I just now realized, AEW probably would not be an option for MVP, because I remember a couple of years ago the infamous MVP Chris Jericho story.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently Jericho was talking mad shit about MVP or something, and when MVP finally met him in person, I don't know if it was on the cruise, the Jericho cruise, or it was somewhere at a public event, MVP dropped his ass. So yeah,
that ain't working.
that ain't working. So MVP could be one of those cats where independents, same thing for him. Maybe he does some stuff with New Japan. He's already teased on social media that he hasn't hung up the boots yet. So there's obviously still that part of him that wants to go out there, continue to wrestle, and you know what, more power to him and everything. But I think his true calling is definitely as a mouthpiece. For sure.
I mean, if you want to get that surgery to patch yourself up and do this and do that for the well-being of your remaining years here.
Right.
Not necessarily to go back, get patched up, to essentially then get re-hurt. And because you have now some people don't have that. Some people only have the wrestling piece of it.
Mm-hmm.
But you have the mouthpiece of it that you're better at. Why not do that?
Right. Agreed. Well, he ain't gonna get no fuss out of me. It's just sad. It's just sad that when you look at that, and I can understand the optics from my brothers and sisters that's out there, because they go, what the fuck is going on with WWE? If in fact the reports hold up, MVP leaves, Bobby Lashley leaves. Let's not also forget that Shelton Benjamin, long-time WWE employee, very well liked, all that stuff, he pretty much has shown the door. you're looking at those things and you're going, wow,
Well,
all those people of color, really, really great talents of color,
mm-hmm.
mind you, not that race needs to be a factor here, but it kind of is when you look at who's been recently released
Mm-hmm.
within the same quarter, give or take. You can't help but look at those people that's released and then say, well, wait a minute, you got these other talents that, from what we can see, they ain't really worth a damn. Why are they being kept and these guys are being shown the door? And it is simple economics to a certain degree, because you look at those older established veterans that I just mentioned, and you can make an argument that, you know what, these guys have unfortunately topped out. They've maxed out. That if they were to continue to go forward with the company, they would have to, you know, downsize. And it's no different than when you look at basketball, when you look at baseball, when you look at the NFL. And it's okay, hey, you've done pretty good, and we appreciate you, we love you, but there's some moves that we're trying to make, or hey, look, you've kind of, your athleticism is kind of scaled back a little bit. We know we still love you, we still recognize you, but instead of paying you $5 million a year, we gotta cut that back a little bit. We're thinking $3 million, and either y'all are able to come to some type of a terms, or you go, I want to trade, or no, I just want out of my contract, or whatever.
Well, be it said to those same people that are putting in the work day in, day out, week in, week out. But yet you get these icons that are coming in for one match and getting these hefty ass paydays.
Mm.
One could start to wonder about the philosophy of the company.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting, to have certain people who basically anytime they want to come back, they have an open pass, no matter age.
Mm-hmm. Agree. Yeah. We'll see how it all plays out with those guys. But I just thought that those two were kind of interesting to bring up, because I wanted to pick your brain on those. Hey, let's get ready to wrap up. We've done about 2 hours, 12 minutes. We really hope you guys appreciate the shows. And I tell you what, the third take is the charm, because the girls were nice and quiet. I know for the first little bit they were out of the room. I eventually let them back into the studio, and they all just decided, hey, we're going to be good. We're going to go camp out and crash. So they're all knocked out as we're speaking. But trust me, the minute that we start moving around, they're going to be like, wait, watch out now. Shout out to all of our sponsors. We love you guys. Shout out to you guys that represent. Check out the shows for on demand and on the downloads. Can't stress it enough, especially if you guys do Spotify. Do us a huge favor. Leave a rating for us on Spotify via your phones. You can do it on your phones. You can't do it on desktop. You can't do it on tablets. You can only do it via your phone. So hook us up. Do it via the phones. Keep supporting the show, available on demand and on the downloads, wherever you get your podcasts. Just search the RCWR Show. We got the Twitter, the Facebook, YouTube. Keywords, the RCWR Show. She's the beautiful and the lovely Tammy. Lee Sanders here. We're wishing all of y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. We'll see you all next go round. Take care, y'all.
Bye-bye.